Welcome to The Explainer. This week in crypto, it wasn't really about one single headline. Instead, it was this fascinating tug of war between three really different, powerful forces. We had regulators kind of getting more comfortable, traders getting super bullish, and then, of course, hackers who were there to remind everyone just how wild this space can still be. So let's break it all down.
Yeah, the whole crypto market this week, it felt like it had a split personality. I mean, on one hand, you're seeing these signs that it's finally growing up, maybe joining the financial mainstream. But then, on the other hand, you get this absolutely brutal reminder that it's still very much the wild, unpredictable frontier.
So to really wrap our heads around what's happening, we've got to look at three different stories that were all playing out at the same time. What the official regulators are up to, how the market traders are placing their bets, and that constant, lurking threat that reminds everyone of the risks involved. All right, first up, the regulators. And what's so interesting here is that we saw two major global players look at the exact same crypto landscape and come to two totally different conclusions about what to do next. So, get this. The U.S. Federal Reserve just announced it's shutting down its special crypto task force for banks. And this wasn't some old, dusty program. It was set up less than a year ago, specifically to keep an eye on banks that were dipping their toes into digital assets. So, why the sudden change of heart? Well, the Fed is basically saying, okay, we get it now. They feel like they've learned enough about the risks that they can stop treating crypto like this weird, separate category. Now, it just gets handled as part of their normal day-to-day oversight. But at the exact same time the U.S. was saying business as usual, a huge global banking body, the Bank for International Settlements, or BIS, went in the complete opposite direction. They proposed a brand new, highly specialized system designed specifically to crack down on crypto crime. Okay, so here's the big idea for how their system would work. Every little bit of crypto would get a risk score based on its transaction history. Then, and this is the key part, before anyone could cash that crypto out into, say, dollars or euros, what we call a fiat off-ramp, that score gets checked. The whole goal is to block dirty crypto before it can sneak back into the traditional banking world. So, while the regulators are sending some pretty mixed signals, how are the actual traders reacting? Well, it seems like they're just ignoring all the confusion and are getting incredibly optimistic. Analysts over at the huge exchange Coinbase are actually predicting that we are right on the verge of an altcoin season. Now, that's the term for market cycle where all the cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin suddenly start to surge and really grab the spotlight. And 75%, that is the magic number. When that many of the top 50 altcoins are doing better than Bitcoin for a full 90 days, well, then it is officially on. So what could possibly kick this whole thing off? Well, analysts are pointing to a massive amount of cash from everyday investors that's just sitting on the sidelines right now. The theory is, if the Fed starts cutting interest rates, that money could come flooding into the crypto market, and specifically right into altcoins. And you can really see this optimism in the charts for specific coins, like Ether here. Traders are pointing to this classic pattern called a bull flag, which, in simple terms, often suggests a big price spike is coming right after a short pause. And based on this pattern, some are now targeting a price of around $6,000. But, for all the optimism about new policies and rising prices, the week also delivered a really brutal reality check, a reminder of the risks that are still very, very real in this industry. First off, we saw a classic crypto versus mainstream media showdown. The founder of Tron, Justin Sun, is suing Bloomberg over its billionaires index. He's claiming they published inaccurate and private financial data. Bloomberg's defense? Basically that they published it before any legal order told them to stop, which they argue makes the whole thing irrelevant. But the biggest shock of the week, by far, was this number: $48 million. That's the estimated amount that hackers made off with from the Turkish exchange BTC Turk after they managed to compromise its hot wallets. That's the funds that are kept online for quick and easy trading. And the hackers didn't just hit one network either. They drained funds from wallets across 7 different major blockchains, including heavyweights like Ethereum and Avalanche. The breach was so bad that the exchange had to completely freeze all customer deposits and withdrawals. So what's the big takeaway here? It's really a story of deep contradictions. You've got major institutions starting to treat crypto like any other asset. You've got traders betting on a massive boom, and yet tens of millions of dollars can still just vanish in the blink of an eye. It leaves you with the big question. Is crypto actually growing up, or is it just finding new, more complicated ways to be wild?